Hey, what's up, Silver Stackers? Thank you for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. We got a lot to talk about today, folks, regarding silver's price recently. This is the 1 month chart. You can see there is a lot of volatility down below $18 up to almost $20 within a month, less than a month actually. Even the 1 week, we see silver almost at 20. We see it down below 19. Looks like right now it's just a lot of craziness, and that's to be expected when we're living in crazy times and so many different things are affecting the price of silver. It's like a push and a pull. You got to remember one thing though, at the end of the day, none of this stuff is really going to matter as long as you're in this for the right reasons. Instead of a get rich quick scheme, look at this more as a throw your money in a time capsule as the dollar is depreciating. So anyways, I do want to share this article talking about how silver continues to threaten a trend line. Silver markets have initially gapped higher during the session on Monday, but have also turned around to show signs of weakness. By doing so, it looks like we are still respecting the trend line above. This was written today, so it's fresh off the press. You're always going to get the newest, latest, freshest, most up-to-date recent information in the world regarding precious metals, more specifically silver. If you are a subscriber around here, I definitely recommend subscribing and going over to my entry video, because I'm going to be announcing the winner soon. 60,000 subscriber entry video. I've gained 2,000 subscribers in 1 week. And to really put things into perspective of how crazy that is, usually I average 1,000 subscribers a month on a good normal month. Lately, I've been averaging 1,000 subscribers in 2 to 3 days. So I cannot thank you all enough for the immense amount of support. I'm going to keep trying to make the most informational, educational, and entertaining content, keeping you up to date, making better and better and better content, always striving to innovate the space of precious metals in my channel as well. So please stick with me. Now, we do have some very important stuff to cover in this video regarding silver's immediate price, looking at the resistance levels. And I know this shouldn't really mean anything to you too much, but if you are planning on buying, then this video would be pretty important just to see, should I hold off a couple weeks if the price is going to go down more, or is this the bottom? So I definitely could see you guys having some type of interest in this, especially if you're trying to figure out when the right time to buy is the bottom here or not. So let's jump into this. Silver market technical analysis. Silver markets have gapped to the upside, kicking off the week on the right foot. However, we have turned around to show signs of exhaustion, and therefore it does make a certain amount of sense that we are paying close attention to this trend line. The trend line has been an area of extreme resistance as of late, especially as the 50-day EMA sits right around the same place. Now, let's look at the resistance. You could see there is a lot of resistance around the $20 level. Even like at the the 1 month chart, it's trying to break above 20, goes back down, almost breaks above 20, goes back down. It just looks like the $20 line, or that $20 price resistance, is really what it's been trying to break above. And if it does break above 20, then we'd probably see it go back up to around this, but it's looking like it's kind of stuck at $20 right now. So we're going to see what happens, but at the end of the day, just like charts and forecasts and all that, it's like the weather. You can never predict because there's so many unknown variables. So the article goes on to say, ultimately, I think this is a scenario where you're looking to see whether or not it can break out. But the 50-day EMA, the trend line, and the $20 level all come into the picture at the same time. If we can break above $20, then it's likely to go that we go a lot higher. That's what I was just saying. If we could break above that $20 resistance, then the price could potentially go back up to $24, $25. But then he goes on to say, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen right away. And I do recognize that this is a scenario where you are trying to figure out what to do with yourself from a longer term standpoint. Breaking through all of that would obviously be a huge victory, but at this point, I don't think that we have the momentum to do so. I think it's going to take something pretty big to happen. Now, for me, I really don't care if the price stays down for another year or so. That just means I could stack up a lot more silver for cheaper. So then when it does explode, hey, I can make a lot more profit, or or at least, I don't have to start paying $50, $100 in a couple months. I can, get a lot more silver for $20, $25 over the next year or so. But it really doesn't. It doesn't really matter to me because I'm trying not to look at silver in dollar terms since the dollar is worthless and irrelevant. Trying to look at it as its value itself. 1 ounce of silver is based off the 1 ounce inside of it, not the price tag. So, anyways, in fact, I will be watching with great interest to see if we break down below $19, because that level would be the sign of fresh selling that a lot of people will jump on. After all, silver is a precious metal, but also an industrial one. So there are a lot of things going on at the same time here, and that's what I was saying earlier. So many factors pushing and pulling. Plus, since silver is a much, much, much smaller market than gold, silver's more volatile. Things can get pushed and pulled in different directions with a lot less momentum, or things that really wouldn't affect it anywhere near the market of gold. So you got to remember it is a lot riskier. People call it the devil's metal for that reason, or a riskier version. I call it gold on steroids. It hits higher highs, but it also could be lower lows. If gold's going to rise 10%, silver's going to rise 15%. But also for the opposite. If gold's going to drop 10%, silver's going to drop 15%. So you got to be careful. The market will almost certainly continue to be noisy and will pay close attention to the US dollar, as there is a huge negative correlation, almost a direct negative correlation. When the dollar, I mean, silver literally mimics the dollar, but negatively, a direct negative correlation. When the dollar's high, silver's low, and vice versa, almost identically. And that's also why silver is a direct threat to the dollar. And that's also why people who are pushing things like stocks and anything that's pegged to the dollar aren't going to like precious metals. They're going to tell you it's a terrible investment to stay away from precious metals. It's a bear market. There's no, there's no opportunity there. But then when you look at why people are investing into it, it completely debunks the reasons they're talking about. I mean, they're going to talk about the economy and this and that and inflation and this, but then when you ask one simple question, regarding precious metals, comparing it to stocks, they shut down and they'll just say, oh, look at the price for the last, 30, 40 years, but then say, well, look at the dollar's strength over the last 30, 40 years. Look at inflation. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious to hear when someone is just purposely dunking on precious metals just for the sake of them, whether they're trying to push stocks on you or yada yada yada. Because if you sat here and tried to logically have a debate between whether silver or precious metals in general or stocks are a better investment, it's a no-brainer. Even technically, it's a no-brainer that precious metals is a much better and safer investment with a lot more potential. And anyone who tries to say otherwise clearly is just going off ego, delusional, or bias. And that's a fact. That is straight up just a fact. But anyways, I just want to throw this little video out there for you guys just to see what's going on. If you're trying to hold off or what, like he said, he doesn't see enough momentum to break above $20 to really push things up right now. So it's looking like the price may stay down for a little bit. That's not the only article saying that. There's a lot of other articles as well, going in more of, more into the technicals, these flag formations, all that type of stuff, looking like it's still going to stay pretty low in the meantime. So, don't freak out. Don't think that the price is going to start crashing, but also, be realistic. Remember that it's not going to explode to $100 next month either, right? You got to stay level-headed. I feel like a lot of people get caught up in this doomsday mind state, thinking they got to get silver right now because it's going to explode next month and I'm going to miss the boat. I've been stacking for long enough where I realized that that's never the case. When I first started stacking, that's how I thought for years. I was like, man, I gotta spend all my paycheck right now because the dollar's gonna vanish by the time that I spend my paycheck and get my silver. And that's not the case, right? You got time. Yes, things are getting more serious, but you still got to be rational. You got to be rational thinking, level headed, or that's where the irrational decision making, impulse buying, panic selling comes in, which are the two worst things to do. Remember, don't get caught too much into the hype or too much into the chaos you got. I mean, yes, it's important to understand and be prepared, but to be doing it frantically and really just basing it off emotions, investing with your heart, not your head, is a very dangerous thing to do. No, the price isn't going to explode to $100 next month, you know, maybe not even next year. So don't invest like that's the case and be freaking out, wearing your tinfoil hat. Yes, there are a lot of conspiracies that could be turning out to be true, but for the sake of someone trying to realistically preserve their wealth, but do it in a manner where you're not overspending and you're still having enough money to pay your mortgage or your rent and put food on the table. You gotta invest with your head, not your heart. Right? Remember, that's what I say a lot, and that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day: being responsible, being level-headed, cool, calm, collect. Like I always mention, there's two investors. The one guy that's very anxious, finicky, right? Always kind of on edge, thinking the worst, the impending doom, things about to happen. And then there's another investor that's very cool, calm, collect, plays it cool, very laid back. Invests rationally. Which one of those two people do you think is going to be more successful? Exactly, the guy that's cool, calm, and collect, right? So that's kind of how you got to be. You could be prepared. You can listen to that type of stuff, but when you start really getting into things and working yourself up, that's when the irrational decision making comes in, and you start making some bad investments. So, anyways, yeah, always educate yourself. Like I say, I don't think the price can do anything too crazy right now, but that's the immediate term. So so yeah, let me know what you think's gonna happen. Like I said, forecasts and predictions are never too accurate. Take it with a grain of salt because a wrench could get thrown in, the unknown variable could get thrown in next week, and something kicks prices way off. Who knows? Who knows? So you always gotta be prepared. I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.